Welcome to the Antoy Show Survive and Thrive series, where you get information you can use to transform your life and business during coronavirus and beyond.
This is part 4 of a series for Mental Health Awareness Month. We will air 1 episode per week. Today's episode is PTSD, Social Impact, and Coronavirus.
Welcome to the show, you guys.
Thank you.
How are you guys all doing today? Let's start by introducing yourselves to everyone so they know who you are.
My name is Angel Moore. I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor, and I am the owner of a Moore's Counseling Service where we're here to help those with any mental challenges that they may have.
All right.
My name is Dr. Clinton Bullock, and I am the CEO and founder of Clinton Bullock Coaching. And I am a life coach, and I assist people in fulfilling their dreams and their goals. And I assist people in pushing their life ahead so that they may live a successfully professional and personal life.
Oh, awesome.
Hello, my name is Carrie Laylor. I'm a licensed professional counselor and certified anger management specialist. I am the owner of Agape Transformation Practice. We are a mental health and wellness center in Decatur, Georgia, and we work with the high achieving women who are juggling lots of plates and trying to make the world a better place in their own right and don't find the time to really take care of themselves or to receive the support that they really need. So we allow them to come into our office or into our space and take off the masks so that they can really focus on themselves and get everything that they need.
Awesome. You guys are doing amazing work. Tell us a little bit about PTSD as it relates to the coronavirus pandemic.
Post-traumatic stress disorder. So what happens is that when it's just levels of how we process information. And then if you have PTSD and get diagnosed with PTSD, there are triggers that you may have. There are people who have what they call it, they're not bad dreams, but they're night terrors. There is night terror, that's the word I was looking for. And people suffer from different things because of the certain experiences that they have. So what happens is that with the coronavirus, again, it wasn't just the coronavirus itself. It wasn't itself. It was the quarantine that is what did the most damage, I may say, because it's how we dealt with it. I'm not justifying the quarantine or not justifying it. I'm just saying the fact that it happened is what gave us all this time with the children, all the time with our partner, us having to help our kids with the homework that we know nothing about, still having to work from home or not having a job at all, not keeping ourselves mentally well, not keeping ourselves physically well. And not because we didn't want to, because we just didn't have the capacity in a lot of ways. I love hot yoga. Can't go to hot yoga. I want to go to the gym. I guess I could go outside and go for a run, but it was, at the time, people were scared, like, should I even go outside? Usually people are compounded, right, in the sense of with regard to this and that and this and that and this and that. And that's not normally how life works. But that's exactly what happened last year. And because of those things, that does lead to PTSD that people are still suffering with today, the psychological scars of actually either people dying on top of that or them actually having been sick for long periods of time. 2020 was just a compounding of issue upon issue upon issue upon issue. And you get to a point where, I want to go back to that, Angel talked about suicide, where people were considering not existing anymore and committing suicide when they never thought about this before. And it just meant like, I'm a failure. I can't take care, I can't take care of my children. How am I supposed to satisfy my family? I always say to my clients, the most important person in a relationship is you. Whether it's with your children or with your partner, the most important person is you. And it might sound selfish, but if you think about this on a plane, when the mask, when the masks come down, the oxygen mask, and they say, what's the first thing they say? They say, put your mask on first before you help anybody else. That's what they always say. And we need to keep that in mind. But the problem was we couldn't even take care of ourselves, and we were running on fumes trying to take care of our partner or children and teach them things that we know nothing about, or and trying to keep our body in shape, or trying or losing that battle, what have you. So all these things, it just doesn't stay there. When they say talk about PTSD, is that people are experiencing PTSD from what they experienced last year. It was very traumatizing in 2012.
Very traumatizing.
And I feel like the triggers for the coronavirus for post-traumatic stress is going to be crowds. People are not going to want to be, especially those who had the coronavirus. They really have that PTSD, and that, I know is factual with the ones who had it. They're the ones who have it the worst. Like, they don't want to go to the hospital. Things that triggers going to be crowds, mask wearing, if you have to wear a mask for whatever reason, hugs and touch, and doctors and hospitals. And there was people who wasn't able to get toilet paper, and that's just like, oh my goodness. And now, if please don't run out, because if you run out, that's just going to trigger them all over. But those are going to be some of the triggers. And the one I'm most concerned about is the doctor in the hospitals, because they've been in the hospital sometimes for months, and just going back, the smell of the hospital, and they don't want to be in the crowd because I don't want to be back in that hospital. And the thought passing by the hospital, just in hearing the sirens going off. That's what I'm most concerned about with the triggers for PTSD. The things, those are just some of the things I can think of at the top of my head.
It's not PTSD, but when I run out of Lysol, I get freaked out. I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do my mail? Or Costco, it says out of stock. I'm like, no, I just get really stressed out. So I can imagine how people with actual, post-traumatic stress, those triggers would fire for them.
One thing I want to say, he talked about the nightmares. The night terrors. Some people have to take medication for that. They having terrors, waking up, sweating, because they remembering that time in the hospital. And please do not put bright lights. If there's bright lights, is a big, big trigger for them.
How did the social issues during coronavirus affect our mental health? We had George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, we had protests, Black Lives Matter, election. So if you could kind of touch, like, collectively, in addition to coronavirus, in addition to having these social issues, how did that affect us on a mental health arena?
I think the social aspect of it is it made people mad. And when they got mad, then they said, I need to do something about this. They couldn't think rationally. I think Carrie had said before how everybody's buying guns, and I don't see anything wrong with that, but some of their thoughts was like, I'm ready. I'm going out there with my guns because they're out there with their guns. Mentally, they was tired of seeing this or dealing with this, especially our Black men. They were tired. Our mothers fearful about their sons going out. Even my son, I was concerned, very concerned, because I was like, I'd rather you come home and then let mommy fight the battle, once you're home, if you get stopped by the police and things like that. So they were mad and tired. And there was some clients who I heard, that they were Black clients didn't want white therapists. I have a friend and she says, well, Angel, they don't want to see me. So they, I would like to, refer them to you, because they felt like people didn't understand. And so they wanted Black therapists because of all of this, because they felt people don't understand what they're really going through. And they was just mad their friends don't understand what they're going through. People that they was like, oh no, he's cool. They don't understand what they're going through. And it was very frustrating. They said they was tired of trying to explain the Black experience. It became challenging, and it wore them mentally on what was happening in our world. And those mothers who was pregnant with these young Black, with their Black boys, it was horrible for them. They was like, why? And some say, I don't want any children if this is the America they have to live in. So mentally, it was really hard for them. They had a lot of anxiety from that too. There was a lot of anxiety from the unrest.
I think one of the major issues is that, well, it kind of relates to what I was saying before about the amount of attention paid to social media. A lot of these stories, they showed all day, every day. What happens is that when you keep seeing it over and over, it's like playing on a loop, accompanied by the fact that people were out of work, 30, 40 million people. So what happens? What do they do with it? Watch the news or watch or social media. And the majority of people get their news from social media, which isn't actually news. It's memes, it's what have you. So what happens is now you're frustrated that you have no job. You're frustrated because you're home with your partner. You're frustrated because the kids are like, daddy, mom. You're frustrated because you can't work out. Your mental health is failing. Your physical health is failing. And on top of that, you're seeing unrest and so forth and so on. 2020 was not a good year. And it was just over and over again of just unrest, whether it was, again, social or psychological or physical. It was a very, very difficult year.
Yes.
Do you guys feel that the protest, even though, for years we've had the same issue and people are frustrated? I mean, it's like, I remember writing a poem back in 1999 about, Black men being pulled over and, what happens with that. Was the protest a mental release in a way from the frustration and the anger and, the stress to just go out there and be able to express?
I honestly believe it created more. I mean, now you're looking at over the summer, billions of dollars of damage. Businesses burned down to the ground. Are we in a better situation? Like, the answer would be no. And just more awareness, perhaps. And if that was your business sitting right there, it didn't matter what the business was. It was getting burned down. It was getting looted. So it created more stress, more strife, and people died again as well. So I don't know how that is an emotional release for anyone when you have people that actually did die during this time, innocent people, and businesses burned down to the ground, billions of dollars in damage. I don't see how that emotional aspect was satisfying for anyone.
Well, that's absolutely a perspective. There are other perspectives as well, where I do believe that there was some positive catharsis in being able to go out and take a stand for the things that have been, the injustice that's been going on for years, right? What stood out to me in terms of the Black Lives Matter and the marches and all of that, the protesting, the peaceful protesting, might I add, is that there was a deep grieving that was going on. And for me, beyond the grieving of this has always happened and we've had no justice over the years for this continually happening, the shift that I saw in 2020 is that we had more allies, if you will, allies that were more vocal, more taking a stand and standing with us as we peacefully protest. And that felt good in some ways, to know that we weren't standing by ourselves and that there were more allies that were there. There were more companies that were coming out and saying, that they acknowledge that there is this complacency and there is this privilege that they never understood or cared to understand before, that they are now taking note of and speaking out about and wanting to create better equality in their workplace and in big corporate America companies. All of the work that had been done in 2020 kind of brought, and the work, the lives that have been laid moving up to 2020, has brought about this point in time where it's not just us talking, and there is a slow shift. Well, the shift is faster than it was in the past, but there's a shift that's now here that I'm witnessing that I didn't witness before, that I can appreciate. So to really be able to talk about these things in a way where it didn't just seem like Black people are just angry, but to have allies that were willing to sit with the discomfort of, okay, my white privilege, I don't understand. I say the wrong things. I'm afraid of saying the wrong things. Just to acknowledge all of that truth and that invisible like matter, if you will, in the air that separated the races, felt healing in ways. So I do believe that there is this perspective where the Black Lives Matter and the peaceful protesting did do some good, and it was cathartic, and it brought about some good. And to speak to what you were talking about, Dr. Bullock, it really is unfortunate that there had to be destruction in the midst of that. However, I would question, whether or not it was really destruction specifically as a result of the protest or people using the protest to create distractions and destructions so that the movement can seem like, oh, this is bad, you need to stop.
I hear you with regard to, and this doesn't take away from the cause itself, like what was the reason. I'm not discussing the reason. I'm discussing the tactics. For example, in 1963, when Dr. King gave his I Have a Dream speech, right, where we had so many people form, Black, white, Asian, they went to the Capitol and he gave his I Have a Dream speech. Peaceful, it was beautiful. And even if we move forward into 1995, if you remember the Million Man March, same thing, type of thing, beautiful event, okay? And what we're addressing, issues in the Black community and so forth. So there are ways to address situations without killing people and burning and burning down the United States. So I'm just saying, and we've done this. That is not like, oh, hypothetically. Again, going back to the Million Man March, going back to the I Have a Dream speech in 1963, there are ways for us to do things. I'm all about, we can do what we want to do, but it's how you do it that is the most important. And that's my point.
I think the politics of it all made them really angry and mad and not emotionally feeling better, because when they do a peaceful protest and then you hear that they call it a riot, or they talk about all the businesses that burned down, or they don't believe that people really trying to understand what's really happening. And if it wasn't the coronavirus, we've seen videos before of police killing of Black men. So I don't think it made them, being able to march, made them feel better, because when they went out there, they was feeling good about it. But then when they hear the politicians and everybody else coming on the TV talking about all the negative things, so it just made them more angry. One guy, he said, I have to come, I need anger management. And I was like, why? He said, because I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. We out here trying to do our thing. And then the next thing you know, you hear all these people saying negative things about it. He just was so angry with it. And he would go out there and he said, I would see the people out here, the children out here. And then when I thought everything was fine, then I get home and hear the news, and he's like, what in the world? So that just made him more angry, So I don't know. I guess it works both ways and depending who you are, but for him recognizing that he's angry with this, he's like, I'm tired of the same thing over and over again. I don't think it made him feel better. Well, it definitely didn't make him feel better. let's say this happened next year, 2 years from now. We're going to be watching movies. We're going to be going out to dinner. You're not going to be stuck home just watching it on TV on a loop, playing over and over again. I don't know that it made them feel better.
I like addressing our issues with discipline. Because I'm a life coach. This is what I do. When the Million Man March came around, I was in college, but I really enjoyed the discipline. And again, going all the way back to the 60s, we're going to address this, but we're going to address this with discipline. If you look back at Malcolm X and back in the 60s or so forth, he was more like, oh, you hit me, I hit you back. But there was a tremendous amount of discipline when they went marching. And I just really enjoyed those days, even up into the 90s, like I said, that we can, if they see a problem, that we can come together and address things in a civil manner. That's what I enjoyed. And we do have that capacity to do that. And that's what I miss.
Well, I guess we can all agree that the social happenings during coronavirus definitely affected people on the mental health front.
Yes.
100%.
Those are some great points. I like having the different perspectives on that as well. Yeah. And peaceful protesting, it's our right to do that. Whenever there's something positive, a movement or whatever, there's always those, it's people. So whenever you have anything, there's always going to be people that want to do the negative things and part of that as well. You guys have been awesome. Let the audience know where they can find out more about you guys.
They can find me on mangoseedproductions.com, and if they need to reach out, I'm available for you.
ClintonBullock.com, or at Coach Clinton Bullock, at Coach Clinton Bullock on Instagram.
You can always go online at agapetransformation.com and get all of our information. We also have a Facebook page, which is Agape Transformation.
Thank you guys so much for coming on the show today and sharing so much information. It was great to kind of reflect on the journey we've been on with this coronavirus and how it's affected us. And it's, I know it's going to really help a lot of people to get the information for you guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is part 4 of a series for Mental Health Awareness Month. Catch other episodes.
If you're experiencing anything we talked about today, please reach out for help. You don't have to face this alone. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw on this episode, make sure you share it with everyone. And if you want more inspiring content, go to youtube.com/The Antoy Show, mangoseed.tv, and antoygrant.com. See you guys soon.